Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us here at the Loveland Living Planet Aquarium once again. My name is Brent, and I would love to thank you for joining us for our 3 o'clock Aquarium to You series. Today we have a very special treat. We're joined by our penguins and our penguin caretakers. We're doing our penguin feed today. Carly, can you hear us all right in there?
Mostly. We'll see if they get too loud in here.
All right. Now you're saying that if they get too loud, the penguins are noisy birds then?
They can be. It kind of depends on the day, I feel like. Sometimes they're really noisy, and they do have a variety of noises that they can make. Other times, I swear it's so quiet in here you could hear a pin drop.
Now, it looks like you're tossing out fish right now. What's the purpose of doing that? Is it just kind of for fun with the penguins?
A little bit. So there's a couple of reasons. First of all, it is kind of fun for both the penguins and for anybody who's here to watch the penguins, either in person or virtually, because it really shows off their amazing swimming skills of being able to just kind of swim really awesome through the water and catch the fish out of nowhere. It's good exercise for them, and it kind of helps them display that natural behavior of being able to catch fish. So it's good for them, it's good for our guests. So there's a lot of good benefits for it.
So it sounds like it's something where it really helps you guys take care of the penguins so they can do really well here in their home.
Yeah, exactly. We want to give them the best life that they can have here at the aquarium. So we want to help them elicit those natural behaviors, but we also want to give them kind of the most nutritious fish that we can, and make sure that everybody's getting fish and they're getting the right amount of fish. So you can see Hannah over there is doing a hand feed, and most of our feed is done that way so that we can keep track a little bit of how much the penguins are eating and make sure that everybody is actually getting food, which is really hard to tell during the scatter feed.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, when I'm looking at the penguins, they all look fairly similar to me. White belly, black back, that cute little white crown going across the top. Do you guys have a way that you can tell which penguin is which?
Yeah, so they definitely, oh, that was graceful. They definitely all have different personalities and different things about them that kind of make them unique. But a lot of that is based a lot more on personality rather than looks. Now, some of them do have some specific things that make them a little more obvious to tell apart from the others. For instance, Gossamer is easily our biggest penguin. I can always tell when he walks up because he's a big penguin. But to make sure that we absolutely know which penguin we are feeding, looking at, whatever, every one of our penguins has a band on either one or both of its flippers. And that band actually has its name kind of carved right into the band. So it's really easy to just look right at the penguin and be able to say, oh, that's Nash, that's Ava, that's Uno, that's Ghost Rider, and easily be able for not only us, but any guests coming to see the penguins to be able to tell what penguin they're looking at.
Awesome, that's a really good thing to know about the penguins. Now, a little bit ago, you said that you do a lot of things to help the penguins show their natural behaviors. Swimming around and catching fish was definitely one natural behavior. What are some of the other natural behaviors that you work on encouraging with our penguins here at the aquarium?
Yeah, so there's a few that we can kind of shoot for. One really big one at this time is breeding. So we are just in the very beginning of breeding season. If you guys can see in this exhibit, you can see that there are a lot of kind of loose rocks spread around. But that's really important for their natural breeding behaviors. These guys will collect rocks and make nests out of these rocks, and that is where they will lay their eggs and raise their chicks. So it's really important to give them that chance to kind of elicit that natural behavior of looking through the rocks to find just the perfect one that they want and then carry it all the way across the exhibit to their nest and then to go find another one. So it's a pretty laborious process for them picking rocks one by one by one, but it's a really good thing for them to be able to do to kind of have that natural behavior and response to build those nests.
Now, when we think of nests, usually most people think of twigs, maybe grass or something like that. So when the penguins are building a nest, do they just get 15, 20 rocks and put them in a pile together?
No, it's a lot more than that. So these guys, yeah, they do their nest with rocks. It seems really weird, really uncomfortable, but it works for them. And they will choose a lot of rocks. One nest that we counted a few years ago, I think had over 2,000 rocks in it. And if you think of a penguin, they pick up the rocks one at a time. That's a lot of individual trips to make sure that their nest is perfect.
That would be a lot, even just doing it by hand, let alone by beak.
Yes.
Now, it looks like you've got a penguin who's being your friend right there. Did you hide some fish in your boots or what?
He might think so. But no, this is Uno, and he is the penguin that we hand-raised here at the aquarium, so he's a little bit more friendly with people than most of our other penguins. He really likes to hang out with his keepers. He'll often stand right next to us if we're in this back room. He'll just come out and hang out in the back room with us rather than be out here and be a penguin. He really likes our boots. And he spends a lot of time just kind of hanging out with us because he likes us. That's what he was used to since he's hand-raised.
So this one's coming right up to you, like sees, getting at your boots and stuff. Do penguins spend a lot of time grooming each other and being really close to one another on a normal basis?
They actually don't, for the most part. Generally, when you see penguins like super close to each other, it's going to be most likely either a mated pair or maybe offspring and parent. These particular type of penguins are not particularly, I guess you could say, friendly all of the time. They have kind of a bubble of space, and they generally don't like other penguins to invade that bubble. So they will kind of space themselves out most of the time. Like I said, a couple of exceptions is when they're breeding, they like to be right next to that partner. And when there's only one spot for food, then they will gather because they are all very excited about that food.
Now, we had a question kind of going to penguin groups and size.
Yeah.
We've got quite a few penguins here. We've got 21 penguins here. When you think of penguin groups, either at another facility or maybe ours, or in the wild, how big can some of those groupings be?
Oh, huge. So our little flock of 21 seems like a good amount of penguins for right here, but it's actually fairly small. There are quite a few penguin exhibits throughout the country that have more penguins than we do, and out in the wild they can be found in flocks of, even thousands to hundreds of thousands of birds. They live in really big colonies. They really like to have friends around, just not too close.
Now, you guys have been feeding for a while. It looks like there's 2 buckets of fish, and that's for just 21 penguins.
Yes.
I'm guessing in the wild, penguins are going to be eating a lot of fish and food on a regular basis.
Yes, so ours on average eat about 10%, maybe a little bit less than that every day, but that's about probably the average of 10% of their body weight. I didn't finish that thought. So it's quite a bit of fish. So we have to do quite a bit for our 21 penguins here, but that does go for the penguins out in the wild as well as the ones right here in the aquarium. They have a pretty high metabolism and they burn through that food really, really quick. So they need quite a bit to be able to sustain themselves.
So one of the biggest things we can actually do to help out penguins in the wild is being smart in the seafood that we're eating. Gentoo penguins, as we just saw, eat a lot, and if you've got a colony of thousands of birds, they're going to need a lot of fish, krill, squid, whatever else they're catching. Being smart in your seafood choices by using something like the Seafood Watch Guide, you can be sure that the seafood you're getting is done in a sustainable way so that you can enjoy seafood and penguins in the wild can enjoy seafood as well. We'd like to thank you all very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, Carly.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, everybody that's watching at home, give Carly a quick round of applause. And be sure to join us here at the Loveland Living Planet Aquarium every day at 3 p.m. as we bring more of the aquarium to you at home.